John?
Yes, I am.
Oh my goodness, that's amazing.
Been down here since Tuesday, I think.
Oh, that's wonderful. Wow.
Yeah,
Okay, are we ready?
Fun.
Getting lots of
Okay,
stuff
boss.
done. All right.
Okay, here,
We
right,
are
here I
ready.
go. The final turn. Full of Fluff is leading Need for Speed. Need for Speed is neck to neck with Full of Fluff. Need for Speed is ahead 1 length, ahead 2 lengths, and wins with 3 lengths. Let's go ask the jockey what makes him a winner. The jockey says, John Limbacher.
That's classic.
Yeehaw.
Yeehaw. You got it, Woody. All right. It is April 8th here. Unbelievable. I'm not sure what happened to January. But anyway, let's get started here. Let's get cooking. Who wants to start off today? Any takers on the start off here? All right. Well, I'll start off then.
Yeah, I got to
go ahead, Jeff.
I was going back through the ACT program.
Okay.
And for some reason, I was having a hard time finding viral trends. It seemed like I'm missing something basic or overthinking it.
Okay, with viral trends, there's a tool in Google called trends.google.com.
Mm-hmm.
That's one way. There's another tool in there that I talk about that's called Buzzsumo.
Mm-hmm.
Buzzsumo is a paid tool. I think they have I think they've got a free trial though you can use just to get you started. But what you're looking for, there's other tools now too. And what you're looking for is you're looking for stuff that has new spikes and basically just new trends of stuff that can allude to something coming. A lot of times, like when the Olympics are going to come to town, you'll see there'll be trend spikes way ahead of the actual event. And what happens is there's some guys that do affiliate marketing, and they look specifically for these trends. And then what they would do, this is back in the good old days, they would see a spike for something coming, like a sporting event or something. And they would go ahead and they'd throw up a website, they'd throw their black hat optimization at it, kick it to the top real fast to take advantage of the thing. And they'd sell t-shirts or sports memorabilia or whatever, even tickets. Sometimes they would go and they'd see that trend coming and they'd go buy a bunch of tickets and basically they'd scalp them online. So that's something, with the trends. But all that is, everything in the analysis piece of ACT is to give you insight into your audience, to know what they like, what they don't like, what language they speak, all of that kind of stuff. The other thing too is you can look at competitors. One of the things that we really focus on in analysis is looking at the major competitors. And here's something a little bit tricky with competitors. Most people look at competitors as somebody that's exactly like them. And that's not necessarily the case. Like, for instance, I used a chiropractor. A chiropractor thinks that only chiropractors are their competition, and that's not true. When you look at what does the chiropractor deliver, he delivers back pain relief, right? That's what he's really offering. That's what his desired outcome of his patient is. He wants back pain relief. So chiropractic is an option, but that's not the only option. There's a bunch of other competing products. There's inversion tables, there's massage therapy, there's acupuncture, there's surgery, there's drugs. There's a lot of different things that could give that same desired outcome. And if the chiropractor doesn't look at that, he doesn't know. Remember one of the lessons in there about your avatar is what they're hearing, what they're seeing, what they're feeling, that empathy grid. And if you don't know what they're hearing, it's hard for you to enter the conversation. If they're hearing acupuncture is the only way to go, or let's say they've been to a surgical consult and the surgeon's saying chiropractic is hocus pocus, you know, that's all just a bunch of BS and they're going to screw you up and you'll never be the same. You have to get surgery. If that's what your patient is hearing, you damn well better know that so you can combat it. Remember, when you're making an offer, you have to eliminate all objections first. Well, that's a major objection that's going to be hidden under the hood if you don't know what they're hearing. So that's one of the reasons why you want to look really in depth at who your competition really is. And don't make the mistake of thinking they're just like you, like the chiropractors do. Look at the desired outcome. What are the other options? What are they hearing? And then you'll go into your offer much more educated. You'll know what to say. You'll know, because you'll know what they're hearing. If you don't, you're going to have a weak offer. You're going to have a weak funnel. If you don't do your analysis, you're going to have a very weak process. So that's, you know, and trends is probably the least of all those. I would say competitive analysis is far higher on the totem pole than looking at trends. Trends are how you take advantage of something. It's cool, it's good, it's something to definitely be aware of, but identifying who your competition really is and getting to really know what they're doing and how they're doing it is far more important. So there's a lot of pieces, like when you go through the ACT program, there's going to be a lot of pieces that somehow might not make sense at the time. And there's going to be some things that may not apply to you. You know, there's like when you're going through, for instance, if you're building your avatar sheet and you're going through there, I put a bunch of criteria down there that's possibilities for a trigger for your avatar. It doesn't mean they're all going to apply. You know, like if you're dealing with, depending on what you're selling, their education might not matter. So if their education doesn't matter, just disregard it. Doesn't mean you have to use everything in the program. It's just kind of all there for, you know, what is possible. You know, what you're trying to do, you're trying to figure out what their language is. So if education is not part of it, don't worry about it. Just move to the next thing. If it doesn't matter if they're married or not, don't worry about it. Move to the next thing. I've seen so many people that get caught up, they get hung up on trying to fill in all the boxes. And the boxes aren't there to be filled in. The boxes are there to show you where the box is so you can get outside the box. So the people that are the most successful in marketing, they go way outside the box. But you got to know where the boxes are. You got to know what's available to you. And once you do, once you get, you know, you get familiar with all that, you'll come up with stuff I didn't think of. You know, there's a gazillion different types of avatars out there that I don't know, I'm not familiar with. So when you're filling out your avatar sheet, if there's stuff in your niche that's important, put it on the sheet, you know, and excuse me for not making you a complete worksheet. Otherwise it'd be 40 pages long. I put the big stuff in there. But now some people ask me, like, why did you put, like, if somebody's widowed, or, you know, if their marital status and you put widowed on there, why would that matter? Well, if you're selling something to somebody that has recently lost a spouse, and you have something that deals with that and delivers an outcome that that person would want, that's a very important thing. If you're not in that category, just skip it. Doesn't matter. But you know, you'll notice one of the questions I put in there is related to, if they are widowed, how long ago? How fresh is the wound? Again, it's for their language. It's so you can understand where they are. The empathy grid is really powerful. It's where they are. It's what they're seeing, hearing, and feeling. If it's fresh, you know those feelings are strong. You know they're hearing sympathy from their friends, but it's not doing them any good. They're not offering them solutions. They're just sympathizing with them. So they're still lost in the woods and the wound is deep. That's important. If you're going to write copy, that's important to talk to them as though you were right there with them. If you've got something that will ease their pain, you need to convey that. So you don't want to come off sympathetic with them because everyone else is doing that. That doesn't really help them. It might make them feel good for the second, but it's not going to do any lasting effect for them, which is what they need. So there's so many different caveats to where someone could be in the situation and whatever it is that you are going to provide for them. It's really important though that you fix that piece, or you figure that piece out so you can fix that in your marketing. So, some people might be in the finance world, some people might be in insurance, and insurance is an interesting one because somebody's not buying insurance for themselves typically, like life. I'm talking about life insurance here. If they're not married, they don't have kids, and you're trying to sell them life insurance for somebody that that they're trying to take care of after they're gone, you're probably going to be speaking the wrong language. That's not your avatar. Figuring out who that's important to the person that's married, that's got a spouse that's dependent upon them, and they care about that person, or they've got kids and they want to make sure that those kids go to college, whether they're there or not. That's the kind of stuff that will pull at their heartstrings. So when you're selling insurance to that person, it's not for their benefit. It's for the benefit of the person that they care about. So you'll notice, like, if you get a good life insurance salesman, sit down and listen to them. It's fascinating the way they position it. They're not talking about you. The only time they're talking about you is significance of your legacy. Like, don't you want to be remembered? Don't you want your children to remember you and talk about you and all that? You're the one that put them through school, even though you weren't here to do it. They're speaking that kind of a language. So it's all about, like, this quote came from Ray Edwards. I don't know where he got it or if he came up with it, but he said, you've got to enter the conversation that's going on in that prospect's mind. There's a conversation going on, especially when they lay their head down to go to sleep at night. And it wasn't Ray that said this one, I forget who it was, but they said, if you can fill in the blanks on this sentence, you will know almost everything you need to know about how to talk to them in your sales funnel. And the sentence is, this is what they're thinking when they try and go to sleep at night. They're thinking, if I could only, and you fill in the blanks, if they could only what, then they would be able to what? So you fill in those two things. If only I could, then I would be able to. If you got those two things, you have a real good insight into what they want and why they want it. So like an example of that would be, and this, I'll go back to my own stuff here. If I'm trying to sell SEO services for somebody, they're not laying down in bed thinking, wow, man, if I only had SEO, life would be great. They're not thinking that. They're thinking, wow, if I could figure out how to acquire new customers each and every week, I'd never have to worry about covering payroll again. I would have that monkey off my shoulders. I wouldn't be terrified at the end of every week when pay time came around if I was going to be able to cover the payroll or not. That's the conversation going on in their head. So if I know that, how do you think my funnel's going to go? Might start off with, Worried about payroll? Worried about covering payroll? I have the solution. How about I show you just how to get all the new customers you want so you'll never have to worry about payroll again. You know, it's just that easy. You just have to figure out what those two things are that they're worried about. What is it that they think they need and why they want it? So they need customers so they don't have to worry about payroll. That's why they want it. They don't want SEO. It's not what they're thinking. You can't sell somebody something they don't want. So if you've got something that they need, you got to figure out what it is that they want that you can connect your thing to. So the SEO in that conversation would be the last thing that came up. The first thing, because that's the unique delivery mechanism. It's the last thing that comes up though in that conversation. You get them thinking about, you know, I have a system to get you all the new customers you want. The way we do that is by driving traffic to your site in the numbers that will convert to get you X amount of clients per week. And now they're like, oh yeah, well, how do we do that? What do we have to do? And then you introduce the SEO. You say, here's how we do it. And they'll say, I want that. See how that whole chain of command went there, of how you went from what they wanted to attaching it to what you have, and now they want what you have. If you go the other way around and you try and jam what you've got down their throat, they're going to backpedal and they're going to get defensive and they're going to shut down, and good luck. Good luck getting to them after that point. It's like, you know, if any of you are of the age, and I think you are, that when you were kids, you played pinball, and the tilt on pinball, it was game over. That was the end of the show. You don't want to tilt when you're going through this process, because that will be game over. So anyway, I know that was a long-winded answer for you, Jeff. But sometimes I get on a roll with those things.
No, that's great. I appreciate that.
Yeah,
It helps prioritize and focus, because the bulk of my effort's been in the competitor analysis.
Yeah, that's really a good place to be. And just make sure that when you are doing that you really kind of think outside the box of who your competitors really are. You know, like the chiropractor, that's a perfect example. It's not just other chiropractors. It's inversion tables, massage therapists, acupuncture, drugs, surgery, anything that relieves back pain, because that's what their customers want. They're looking for back pain relief.
Because we also include doing nothing as one of our competitors, right? Because that's an option they can take. For whatever reason, they decide, you know what, we're sticking with what we got.
Yeah, that's more of the contrast statement. Like when you're in the copywriting part of ACT, learning the copywriting piece, that's something we use as a contrast. It's like an if or. You can say, you know, you can do something to get rid of that back pain, or you can decide to suffer with it and just do nothing. Because now all of a sudden you've positioned that as it's not really an option. It's a stupidity factor. It's like you're basically telling them you got to do something. You can't live like this. I have a good saying. I've always heard people say that life's too short, right? They say, my God, life's too short, right? Well, I spun that. I inverted that. I said, if you're in pain, life's too long to live like that. You know, if you're suffering, if you've got a broken funnel and you're pouring money in and you're going to seminar after seminar, not getting anywhere, that's not fun. That's not a good way to go through life. So life is too long to live like that. Here's an alternative. Let's cut all that shit out and get you to live in the way you want to live. You know, again, that's a contrast thing. You get them to actually feel the effects of the contrast, so they will be pushing away from one and running to the other one. Again, that's all part of creating demand and desire. You know, in the whole funnel process, remember the 4 key pieces to that. It's grab attention, You've got to get their attention first. Then you start immediately creating demand and desire, using everything at your disposal, all the competitive analysis, everything you learned about them, everything you know about what they want, why they want it. That's how you create demand and desire. And then step 3, you have to understand what they're hearing so you know the objections so you can eliminate them. And then and only then do you make your offer. If you make your offer too soon, you'll blow it. You've got to get the objections out of the way. You've got to create the demand and desire. And when I talk about the demand and desire versus the objections, they don't always go in that order. Sometimes you can address objections first. They're totally interchangeable. As long as you get the demand and desire and eliminate the objections before you make the offer, you're good. In the real world, you can make the offer early because you have the ability to ask them why they don't want to move forward. But online, you don't get that option. That's not part of the game. If you lose them online, you just tilted the pinball machine. So very important that when you're creating an online funnel and you're not part of the equation, you're automating it, that you got to get that sequence right. That's a really key component of that. Now, to the effect of creating demand and desire and eliminating objections, when I do webinars, the way I talk about that is I talk about seducing the heart and convincing the head. That's the way that you have to do it. Seducing the heart is easy. When you want to seduce the heart, that's where promises come in. You're promising the heart the desired outcome. You can't do that unless you know what the desired outcome is of your prospect. That's part of the analysis. That's why it's so important before you get into creation, before you start writing copy, before you start making websites, before you start creating a funnel, you've got to know those things. So making promises of their desired outcome, that's where you seduce the heart. The heart falls in love very fast. The heart hears what it wants and it wants it now, and it doesn't care about the outcome. It's like the heart is equivalent of your subconscious, and it's also equivalent of a 3-year-old kid. They want what they want when they want it, and they don't give a shit about anything else in the world. You know, they want to walk on the fence. They don't care if they're going to fall. They don't care if they're going to break their neck. They just want to walk on the fence, right? Who knows why? That's just what they want, and they want it now. That's the way your subconscious is. It makes choices, it makes decisions instantly, and once it does, that's it. It wants it now. The conscious mind is the adult. The conscious mind is what's going to step in front, and it's going to protect the child. The conscious mind says, oh no, let's think about this. That's where objections come in. The conscious mind steps in and it protects the heart. So that's where you have to seduce the heart, convince the head. Convincing the head is overcoming objections. It's logic. You have to convince the head that the promise is true, because the head's heard the promise before and it wasn't true, and the heart got broken, and it wants to prevent that at all costs. You know, and this is kind of a theological thing that I'm describing here. This is what goes on inside of everybody internally. It's that, you know, you've seen it in the movies where you've got the little angel on this shoulder and you got the little devil on this side, and they're both, you know, whispering in your ear, do it. No, don't do it. It's not right. Oh yeah, it'll feel good. Go ahead. You got that going on, and somebody is going to win. Either the devil or the angel is going to win in that scenario. So if you want your angel to win, you've got to defeat the devil. And that is convincing the head. Convincing the head that the promise is true. So you do that with facts, figures, logic, The heart doesn't care about any of that. As long as you've created that demand and desire, you've done effective. You've effectively seduced the heart. The heart's not going to stop wanting it. Now you've just got to convince the head to let it have it. And once you've done those two things, then you make your offer. And if you've done those two effectively, your offer can suck and it'll still sell. It'll still convert. But you don't want a sucky offer. You want a good offer. You want every piece of the puzzle to be as strong as possible. So a strong call to action, a strong attention grabber on the front. That's the whole big idea process. If you guys haven't gone through that lesson in ACT, it's probably the most important thing. It's the hinge factor of whether you're going to be able to grab someone's attention or not. And if you can't grab their attention, none of the rest of what I just said matters, because they'll never see it. So if you haven't mastered that piece, that's a really good place to start when you're moving into creation, is the big idea process. It's the foundation of it all. It's the grabbing attention piece. And there's a formula to it. You know, I've broken down the actual formula to making it happen, and it's not that difficult. It seems to be one of the hardest things for people to really get a grip on, though, of how to do it. And that's why I've given so many different examples. I've got a worksheet in there that's got probably 30 different examples of great big ideas out of history. And I break down the pieces so you can see them. But a lot of people still struggle with that. And it's just because it's not natural for us to do that kind of stuff. It's not the way we just naturally go through life, you know, unless we're born and bred to be marketers, which most of us are not. It's something that we have to learn and exercise and get good at. You know, it's like a sport. You're not going to get really good. You're not going to be a championship athlete without practicing. It's just not going to happen. Even if you've got natural ability, you've still got to hone your skills. The marketing is the same thing. And if you were going to hone any kind of skill in marketing, I would say hone your skills on creating big ideas. The more of them you have, the more entry points you'll have to your funnel, which means traffic. And traffic is the last piece to the puzzle. But if you don't have the big ideas, you won't get it. You won't get the traffic onto your offers. So they all connect. They're all important. The A, the C, and the T, they all integrate. They're all very important to one another. So the whole idea with big ideas, many of you have heard of Ryan Deiss, who's like a kingpin internet marketer, and he's trained a gazillion people how to do Facebook ads and this and that and the other. And you know, the training and stuff that you get, I've been through several of the trainings that he's put on through his so-called experts. They're mediocre at best. But what he is really good at is he's really good, or his team is really good at big ideas. They have basically one thing that they sell, and it's an online training academy, and it's got probably 50 different components to it, where you can go in and you can learn how to run a Facebook ad, how to write a blog post, this, that, you name it, it's in there. And like I said, it's all mediocre at best, but they're really good at selling it. They're really good at marketing it and getting it out there. So, thing ringing here. Oh well, I don't know where it went, but anyway, they're really good at that. And the thing that they have mastered is the big idea on the front of it. So like I said, they've got one thing where they sell this package, this bundle package of training, but they don't try and sell you that, because that's not what you want. Remember, they don't try and sell something you don't want. What they do is they figure out all the possible things that you could want, and they create a big idea for every one of them. In fact, they create multiple big ideas for each one of them. So for instance, they'll create a big idea around how to write a blog post for those people that's what they want, or that's what they think they need. And he brings them in, he teaches them how to write a blog post, and that's a free lead magnet. And then he leads them to, the reason you're going to write a blog post is so you can get people to your site, so you can generate sales. Well, that's marketing. Here, I've got this thing over here that'll give you everything you need to get that done. Because they thought they wanted to write a blog post because somebody said, oh, you got to write a blog post, or, somebody told them that. So that's what they think they need. That's what they want right now. It's now your job to show them how to do that and then lead them to the next thing. So he's got them about how to write a blog post, how to run a Facebook ad, how to do your Google Analytics, probably 50 different types of lead magnets. And then he'll come up with them over and over and over to grab attention. Because if he can grab your attention, he can get you into his webinar series, and now he can sell you on his big package. Because once you get this, once you buy his academy thing where it's got all his lessons on how to do all this stuff, he knows nobody's going to go through that and do any of that stuff. So then he teaches, he comes in and he offers you a bigger package that most people don't do. And then he offers you into their highest thing is what's called War Room, and it's $50,000. It's basically a mastermind. So he's starting off with these free lead magnets of how to write a blog post, and you wind up being offered a $50,000 product. And they've made an absolute fortune doing that. But if you look at how much they've made, it's because it's all directly related to the numbers of how many lead magnets were on the front end. How many different ways did they have to bring you in? Lisa, unmute.
So I'll dovetail on that, and then I have a question.
Okay.
Totally unrelated. So I follow a lot of these online people, Ryan being one of them. I was in his Digital Marketers Academy, and you're right, it's just too much. So
Yeah.
you stay in it for $49 a month for 6 months, and then you realize I'm not doing it. So you cancel. He doesn't care. But what I do is I stay on his list. And then and so this is for everybody, when I'm called to something that relates to my community, but with different words, I save it in a swipe file. And then I don't have to invent anything. I just take his text, I substitute actor or whatever words, and then I just rob and duplicate.
Yeah, that's a great idea.
Yeah. And so I keep that. And again, this is part of the process of what's getting done now. That just takes forever to set up, because he sends also like 3 or 4 emails for the same free lead magnet with different subject lines that, like, oh, that one didn't call to me. Oh, that one did. And then pretty much it's the same crap. Then once you click and get the freebie, then you're in a sequence that sells you something. So that's what I've been wanting to do for years, and now still setting up in Kartra.
Yeah, every one of those, like the 4, you say he sends out 4 different ones for the same thing. That's 4 big ideas for the same thing.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, so it's all just technical and rewriting. It all takes time, yada, yada, yada. But I have some specific questions that I'm hoping you have the answers to around technology, because that's why you're my guru.
Okay.
One is, well, let me start with Zoom. And if anybody here has the answer, I think the last time I asked, how do I do meeting rooms? That's not the question. I want to start to run multiple events that other people facilitate, not me. So in duplicating what my bigger company that let's just say I want to run 20 online events a month, which I'm not there yet.
Okay.
And some are being run over here on this date, and some are being run over here on this date at the same time. And we all use Zoom. How do you do that? Meaning, do I have to buy all these different licenses?
No, what you should do is you should contact Zoom for a rep. And
That's the first thing. How do you call anybody at Zoom?
well, you don't really call them. You have to put in a support ticket and tell them, basically just put the support ticket in for sales. That'll get their attention.
Right.
Because they get a gazillion support tickets.
Yeah.
But they pay more attention to sales, income generation. So put your ticket in for sales and tell them you're looking for enterprise level services. That'll get their attention.
Yeah, but I don't want to pay enterprise level prices at the beginning. So,
No, but you want somebody on the phone. That's
okay,
the way you're
got
going to get them on the phone.
all right. Yeah, because
So really
yeah.
what you're looking for is you're looking for a multi-user account, which is going to be a little more expensive, but it's not like crazy expensive. It's not as much as
Right.
having multiple accounts.
Got it. Because that's the thing. Like, for example, my big company that I don't really run or have anything to do with anymore, and also don't make any money from, but use as edification. We run, or they run, a lot of events, like sometimes 3 of them on the same night, and it's all via Zoom. And I'm really clear they've got this multi-user account.
Yeah.
And I'm doing my first agent panels April 20th and 21st. You can do a demo meeting. Okay, thank you.
Yeah. I also think that you can add those right from within your account too. If you don't want to talk to anybody, you can go in and you can add a user and it'll just upgrade you and you just pay the additional fee for it.
Yeah, but here's the thing where it says co-host. I mean, so here's what I'm trying to do. Set this up and not me have to log in and be on the damn meeting.
Yeah, that's why you create an additional user and then they can log in and do that. You just give them administrative capacity.
And there's got to be something better than that, because each additional user is $15 a month. So not that I mean, I already have 2 users at $30 a month. So, but as this grows, I'm really clear Actors Connection isn't paying 40 times 15, because that would not. So I'm just,
well, they probably have a user that's a generic user that multiple people have access to.
But at the same time?
Well, yeah, each user can have a meeting room running, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, so I need to talk to a human that knows this.
Yeah. So either request a demo like somebody said, or do like what I said and contact the sales department, tell them you're interested in an enterprise version, and they'll put somebody on the phone with you. They can almost assure you.
Okay, and then the second question is a Kartra question, because I'm just attempting to, I should have done this years ago, but I didn't want to compete with my own company. And now, so can Kartra, I know that there's a members area, but this is not a membership. It's, for example, if people sign up to meet this panel of agents, I then need them to provide information for me. The links to their casting platforms, a picture to upload, their Instagram handles, their, like that. Like, I need to gather information from each participant and then deliver it to the 4 agents the day of, so that they've got it all in front of them as that person performs live on Zoom, so they can be looking at their materials.
Okay.
How do I do that with Kartra?
In Kartra, what you probably need, because the only part of that I don't think Kartra will do is the ability to upload the photo from a form. I don't know. I don't think they're going to be able to do that. But you can create a form. You can create a form with custom fields, and you can collect any custom field information that you want in Kartra, and then it's stored in Kartra under that prospect, under that lead.
Got it. And I knew that, but the thought was, then I got to go in and compile it all into one thing to send to 4 different people. I want to skip that.
So what I would probably do if that was what my goal was I would probably get a WordPress programmer to create a form that copies your 4 people. So when somebody fills the form out, all 4 will get copied on the information. That's the easy way to do it.
Yeah.
And you can put the form, you can embed that form in a Kartra page. Easy.
Here's the thing though, every time they upload it, if that one agent gets 20 different emails, no, that's not going to work out. It's too much. You know, they're going to need everybody at once. So okay, I figured it out because it's also been mentioned that I can do this on a Google form.
Yeah, you can do that too. Same.
Okay,
same
I just thought maybe you had it.
And then you just send the notifications to the 4 people you want to have the information.
Well, here's the thought process, and tell me if I'm wrong. Apparently, it has the ability, and somebody else is going to do this for me because it's not me, where that form then automatically dumps that information into an Excel spreadsheet. And then I got one place for 20 people's stuff, and I can email that one form to 4 different people. Or sorry, that one Excel spreadsheet.
I think you can do that with the Google Docs.
Yes.
Pretty sure you can do that with the Google Docs.
I participate in some focus groups for, like, you know, hair care, which obviously not today. And every so often I have to upload pictures and answer questions and put in fields. So it goes somewhere that's compiled, because I know they're not copying and pasting. So I know it can be done. I just don't conceptually.
You can do anything you want with a programmer and a database and a WordPress site.
Right.
But
right.
you just have to outline what you want and have a programmer do that for you.
Right.
Or you can do it, you know, the free way and use Google Docs and all that. It's probably not as clean and definitely not as proprietary to your business, but it's an easy, low cost solution. Getting a programmer involved is not going to be a low cost solution. It's not going to be outrageous, but you will have to pay them to, you know, to create the database and the functionality and whatever admin capabilities that you want. But you can do that for sure.
Got it. Okay. And then last question, and I promise I'll turn over the floor, is WordPress versus Wix. So I've been trying to update my website to make it look, you know, responsive and beautiful. And I have a WordPress site, and it's got 200 and some odd pages on it. But as I've moved most of that information and delivery system and stuff that I used to unwieldily do through WordPress to Kartra, I'm looking at Wix because I want to get off GoDaddy, and it's bleeding me dry of, you got to pay for, you know, security, and you got to pay for the SSL every year. And it was supposed to be better. Wix is an all-in-one platform, similar to if I were to buy GoDaddy, as you know, and build my website on GoDaddy. However, you being the SEO guru, and now they've got ways to SEO, but right now I own my website, and I can zip it up and I can move my website on WordPress to any hosting I want.
Yeah, I wouldn't
Kartra,
consider Wix for anything.
Oh God, why not?
Wix is a do-it-yourself home. It's kindergarten. Yeah,
but let me tell you, their sites look amazing.
Yeah,
amazing.
Yeah, that's about as far as it goes, though.
But here's the thing: nobody finds, listen, at least in my industry, nobody's finding me through SEO. They're just not. They're finding me on social media, word of mouth, Facebook groups, interaction, personal referrals. There's no actors shopping online for my services, because they don't even, you know, again, you got to educate them. They're in the, I'm unaware. I'm talented. I just need an agent.
If they're unaware, those are the people that should have a Wix site.
The question though is, like, you can drop your code, like you can create a page in Kartra and then just drop that code into WordPress, and then it propagates on your WordPress site. Does that work for Wix?
Wix gives you no access to coding. They give you no admin access to coding, stuff like that. So I guarantee you're not going to be happy with Wix.
Well, the only, and I love you, John, but I'm not happy with Kartra either.
Well,
Because
you know,
if I knew then what I know now, I would have stayed with Infusionsoft and been much farther ahead because it was already all built out.
Yeah,
I mean, it can do a lot, but it's limited, and like I can't organize my pictures. I have to re-upload pictures every time for emails. I got to keep all those pictures in a file somewhere that I use over and over and over again. I can put, templates, but there's no way to organize my templates. I got to go through a long thing that's this big. I mean, it's got a lot of stuff going on.
Everything you just said, every word that just came out of your mouth tells me that you would be so upset with Wix when you got into it. You wouldn't be able to stand yourself. You need ability to do stuff, and they're going to harness you like you've never been harnessed before.
Okay, I trust you.
That's why I say it. It's if you have very limited expectations and you just want something that looks great and that's it, then Wix is fine. But none of you on here are in that category.
Well, the question is, have you looked at it lately? Because I know back in the day, I would never go to Squarespace or Wix or any of those.
Yeah. It's the core functionality of it that hasn't changed.
So what can
it's
look
like if
as
you go
good?
It's like if you want a WordPress site, you go to WordPress.com and you get it through them. That's not like you having your own WordPress site. There's things you can't do. There's things they don't give you access to because you're on a shared service, and that's what Wix is. They're not going to give you back-end access, which on your website, you're going to want that.
Well, yeah.
I mean, as business owners, we want expandability. We want unlimited growth potential. We want to be able to do whatever. We're like the little kid. We want what we want when we want it.
But they just look so good. Well, then, okay, that being said,
I've got developers that can make anything look anything like what you want. So you can use Wix to build a template, like go in and make your mock-up and then have a web developer turn it into a WordPress site.
Well, that's the thing is listen, here's the thing, John, everybody tells me they can do everything. And then I hire them and I pay a crap ton of money and it never comes out like I want. And, so when I'm looking at stuff and I go, I'm talking to a guy now that can do this, I mean, I just look at this stuff. I mean, I show people my sites. I show them I want just like this, responsive, moving, and everybody says they can do it. Tim Gillette says he can do it on optimized WordPress. I've got people that used to work in WordPress that say they won't touch WordPress anymore because it's so unwieldy. And they've moved to Wix into Squarespace. And then I said, but the SEO is not the same. And they go, no, it is. I can code it to be the same. I just don't know where to go anymore. And my website looks old. It doesn't, I mean, yes, it's mobile responsive, but it's just, can I share my screen and just tell me if I can get this done on WordPress?
Sure. I mean, you don't even need to share it. I can tell you right now, anything you can show me on a Wix site, my guys can replicate in a WordPress site.
For how much money?
Not very much.
What is not very much? So like, for example, this is just an actor site, but he can do it with a business. It's where you're starting out with, videos. I would have different videos and I'd go slower of speaking, whatever. His gallery is all responsive. He creates like a custom logo, headshots and resume. I just really like the look of it. I don't know. And he does stuff for businesses. We're in the same community together. So
everything you've shown me just there is all standard stuff.
Bronx Boy Entertainment as a entertainment company. So
that's the same template right there.
Yep, it is. And I know it's a template, but it looks good. So how do I get my WordPress site to look like this?
You just show a designer, a developer, what you want.
Let me stop sharing. My site is now 15 years old, and I have shown 12 developers. And I don't seem to be able to get, where's my thing? Let me move it. So I don't know.
Well, if you show my developer what you want,
okay,
and he doesn't give it to you, I won't charge you for it. How's that sound?
Okay, so we'll have a email or an offline conversation, and okay. I need just to choose because I'm tired of. I just need it done.
Yeah, that's not a problem.
Hey, John, this is Chris. I have a question for you.
Chris, you're breaking up. I can't hear anything you're saying.
Yeah, Chris, there, I muted you. We can't hear a thing of what you're saying there.
Currently, I have a website with you hosted on that you're hosting.
Can you put whatever in the chat?
Okay. Hey, I was just saying that I have a WordPress question also.
Oh, a WordPress question also.
Yeah, Chris, put it in the chat. You're all broken up.
I keep getting muted. I'm not sure why, but I have a WordPress question for you, John, and currently I have one.
Chris, we can't. Chris, stop. We can't even hear you. Your connection is bad. Put it in the chat. We're not getting.
There we go. I joined on a different computer. How's that?
Oh, that's much better.
Okay, note to self, don't do it via phone. Anyway, thanks for your patience with getting me online there. I have a WordPress question for you. I currently have one website that your guys built that's a WordPress site that's being hosted by you, which is fine. And that's all going great. My question is, I need to get in there. I need to change some things. I'm going to start marketing to a different segment. And I need to change the video out and the text and the different things like that. How do I physically, I know you mentioned, use Beaver Builder, but how do I get in there and start using a template, using that website to move things around and make changes?
You just need me to probably get on there for 10 or 15 minutes with you and show you how to operate Beaver Builder.
Great. When I'm available today and tomorrow, and when we do that, when we spend that 15 minutes, just so that I'm in the right place, and you show me around the template. From that point, after that, I'll just be able to go in by myself then and make any changes.
Yeah, I'll give you the WordPress admin access, and that's all you really need.
Simple, easy peasy. That's the way I like it. Way to go, John. Gold star.
Yeah.
What I have 15 minutes whenever you do. Would you let me know when at your earliest convenience when I could do that?
Okay. Yeah, I'll text me right after this, and I'll give you a time slot later today.
I'll text you at Boat Guy, Long Beach.
I can even do it from the boat here. Yes, absolutely.
Fantastic. All right. Thank you very much. Oh, hey, I just have one. Yeah. All right. That's great. Thank you. I pass.
Okay, sure. Libby, she knows I gave her the training on WordPress. She's up and running.
I'm getting there. I'm not as fast as you by any stretch of the imagination. So I'm going to take my hand in. Okay, I've got 4 questions. So whoever wants to stay on and listen to them, fine. But one has to do with integrations.
Okay.
As opposed to having PayPal, which I can't stand. So I'm working with somebody, and so I have some integration questions. The other one has to do with in my products on Kartra deposit. So I have a question about that.
Okay.
Another one is about an email error code I keep getting when I send out an email blast. And then another one is some sequencing. So I'm going to start with the integrations first.
Now, when you say integration, are you talking about merchant service integration for payments?
Yes.
Okay.
So I have a guy who does, merchant processing, and he has his own company. So he wanted to know, well, what kind of gateways do you have? So I gave him all the ones that are on Kartra that you can use. And one of the ones that he wanted was Authorized Net. So I said, yeah, there is Authorized Net on there.
Authorized Net is the one that you want, for sure.
Okay. So he said, I'm just reading his email. I knew Authorized Net was on there, but it's not capable of doing cash discount, only traditional pricing on the rates. And you want to do the cash discount plan, right? No, I don't. I want to speak to someone to see if they do NMI. Plus, I wanted to see if they knew how to do the programming for it. Sometimes the gateway companies can program it, even if they're not certified. So that's why I asked. I have not.
Questions from him, right?
Yes, because I don't even know what he's talking about.
The only thing you need from him is an authorized.net merchant account with a login. Anything else, he's getting outside his box.
So if we do that, then so all he needs is that and the account number, and that's it.
That's it. You just need your authorized.net login for that account. If he has trouble with that for any reason, you can always contact Barbara Cunningham from Craig's group.
Yeah, okay.
She's done a number of them for my clients, and it's just easy peasy. She sets them up, gives you the login, and away you go.
Okay. So you'll have to text me her number. I don't think I have her number anymore.
Okay.
I mean, she's such an amazing gal, but I might be a small change for her, but.
Well, here's the other thing too, with authorized.net or with authorized.net is like, that's a real merchant account. That's your merchant account. The option down below that is a Stripe account. You can get a Stripe account. If you're going to do low volume sales, you might be better off with a Stripe account. Because then you don't have the gateway fees and you don't have the minimum purchases and all that stuff. You have basically 0 fees with a Stripe account. You just pay a higher transaction fee when you do make a sale.
What is their transaction fee? Because right now PayPal is just, I might as well just.
It's similar to PayPal, I believe. I don't know. I use authorized.net myself. Randy just put Barbara's phone number in the chat for you too. So thanks, Randy.
Thanks, Randy.
But if you're gonna do if you're just starting out and you're not sure where it's gonna go and you're just doing a handful of sales, Stripe might be cheaper in the interim, and then you can always upgrade to an authorized.net account anytime.
What is the authorized.net on a monthly thing? I mean, I can always check with her because mine goes blows hot and cold.
I think it's about
big ones in the woods, big ones.
I think it's about $30 a month, something like that.
Okay,
so it's not a lot. It's not a lot, but for people that are just getting started and they're not sure if they're going to do anything, it's an option to just go with Stripe to get you off the ground.
Okay, because the thing with PayPal is, well, I don't like PayPal.
Yeah, PayPal eventually is going to rip you off. Everybody
Actually, they
else.
probably already have, but yeah.
Yeah,
Okay, so
yeah.
good old PayPal. Okay, so that was the one integration thing. The other thing is, so I'm gonna clear that out, was on deposits. So the different programs that I have, they can do a pay in full, or they can do a, payment plan or whatever. But, if somebody says, yeah, I'm interested, but, it's probably not going to be for 2 months. So for me, well, let me get a deposit. I mean, I don't even care if it's $100. It doesn't matter. Just something to hold their spot.
Yeah.
But I don't know how to take that in, and then how does that affect the rest of the pricing? How do I do that?
Sure. All you have to do there is you just create that as a product. So your deposit is.
I'm going to screen share. Okay.
Yeah, it's just an additional product. You can make it a add-on product, so you don't wind up with a whole ton of them.
Yeah. Okay. So here I am.
So you can basically do a new product for that.
I can do a new product for it.
Yeah, or you can also, if they're making a deposit and then you've got a set payment schedule, you can just set it up that way as well.
Okay, so like say somebody says, well, I'll give you a $200 deposit. And they're like, well, maybe can I do a $500 deposit or whatever? Then they've got to be able to pay the balance before they have access to the program. But that can, it's more like, okay, well, what kind of deposit can you do today? So that may change depending on what they can do.
You can set up as many. You could basically do that as a different price for the same product. So go in and edit the product that you want to do that for, and I'll show you how to do it. So click edit, the little pencil button there.
The little pencil guy. Oh, there he is. Sorry.
Yeah. And then we want the pricing tab, which I think is the second one. So when it updates,
so jump over it.
Yeah, just say save and
next. You have to do that. You have to keep jumping over all over to get where you want to go. It drives me crazy.
Okay, so see how you've got all these different price levels?
Right.
So hit the change button on the pricing.
Okay.
Now it'll let you add a new one. So click the add button down there.
Where
bottom middle.
Bottom middle.
The blue add.
Oh, duh. Okay, yeah.
Now here you can make one that is installments.
Well, they already have, they could either do a pricing program. They already have that anyway. This is just kind of holding their spot.
Okay, well, no matter how you slice it, you can do a recurring, and you can set the first payment to be X amount, and then you can set X amount of follow-up payments at whatever interval you want. And then you just give them that pricing link to sign up. And you can make one for 100, 200, whatever you want as those deposits.
Okay, so let's do one. Okay, so
do recurring.
Okay, now here's another thing. So the virtual program is $14.97. They put a coupon code in, it knocks out 500, so they end up with $9.97. That's really where it is. So if I do this and say they put $100 down, I don't want them to take the 100 off of the $14.97. I want them to take it off the $9.97. So then they owe $8.97.
So for this kind of thing, you don't need to get fancy with coupons. You do not need a coupon for this.
Okay.
You're creating a special pricing.
Okay.
That is for whatever the deposit is, and then X amount of follow-up payments. And then when they click that link, that's what they get. They don't have to have a coupon or anything.
Got it. Okay. All right. So I would do this.
So do recurring.
Okay.
And then what you want to do, you want to check off enable initial payment.
Okay.
And then put how much the initial payment is.
Okay, let's just do $100. It's easy.
Okay.
Whoops. Use both hands. It works. Okay.
Okay, and then that payment is for the first 30 days, maybe?
Yeah, sometimes it could be 60 days, but yeah.
Okay, so just for the sake of making one, just make it 30 days.
Okay.
And then now up under the regular price,
Okay.
how much is the monthly
get
fee?
Okay, so the regular price, I'm just going to put $9.97 because that's probably what they're doing. Okay.
Okay, but how are they going to pay that all at once? How many
Well,
payments?
what they'll do, I mean, yeah, that's a good question. Because if they do it all at once, sometimes they do. They just pay it all, they just do a pay in full.
Okay, well, this is what you're setting up here is not a pay in full. It's a pay X amount today.
Right, and I already have that. So, okay, so I'm probably not communicating well. Fred Flintstone says, yeah, okay, I want to do the program in May, but I'm going to put $100 down now to hold my spot, and then the balance will be paid, 30 days from now.
Okay, it's the same thing. You just tell this what you want that to do. The enable initial payment is how much they're paying today.
Which is 100. So then this would be $8.97, correct?
Sure. Yeah.
Right. Okay. And then the recurrence would but it's a one-time. Right.
Yeah, so that would be, so you could basically just try putting monthly in and then one time. And then under the until customer cancels, I think you can.
You can't.
Okay, so we just have to do it under the installments. How many installments then?
Okay, so I go back in here, or do I go over here?
Yeah, click up there.
Okay.
See, there's the recurrence.
Okay. Installment is 1, so monthly. So here.
Yeah, and then there you'd make the $8.97.
Okay. And so just one.
Yeah, one installment, that should do it.
Okay. And that would be, yeah, okay. So I just need to know that for that program, the pricing code is for 8.
Yeah, and then you can just give them that direct pricing link. You can make as many of those as you want. If you want a $200 deposit or a $500 or whatever you want.
Okay. And then where's the little save? There we go. And then number of installments must be bigger than 1. Okay.
Let's see.
Great, Obi-Wan Kenobi. Now.
why don't you email me what you're trying to do, and then I'll go in and play with it, figure out what the solution is for it.
Okay, so I should just hit cancel probably.
Yeah.
All right.
You can just go out.
Just close it out. No,
yeah, as long as you didn't save it, it won't save it.
Well, I did try to save it, but he doesn't like anything. So okay, great. Okay. So how do I get back to you? Where are you? Oh, okay.
I'm
back.
here.
Okay. Okay. So the other thing is I have this when I have my emails sent out. Come here, you open up.
And is that through Kartra or?
Yes. I need a new computer. This guy's lead is really slow.
So are you sending it as a broadcast?
So yeah, we send it as a broadcast. It goes to, my group, but then it's in my email, and then I go to, it won't move it to the right box. And I don't know if this is a Kartra thing. I mean, I haven't seen it with anything other than, I don't even know what this is. I don't even know what it's saying to me. So it could, I don't know. So what is this invalid blah, blah stuff? What is that?
Yeah, no idea. That doesn't look like it's part of Kartra.
Okay, but do you know what any of this is? Or how I can find out what any of this is?
That one, probably set up an appointment so I can go through and look and see what you're doing with that one.
Okay.
I'm not sure where that came from.
Okay. Yeah, they
Doesn't-
pop in every now and then. And a lot of times with my Kartra Style Tip Tuesday blasts, you know, they somehow end up in junk. So on my own account, which I thought is interesting. And then when I tried to set up a rule to move it and it won't let me move it. So I don't know.
Okay.
Okay. And then, yeah, I will set up a time with you, John, because I've got my opt-in, and then I have in my email sequencing another document, and I just want to flip them.
Okay.
So I'm like, I need to do a flipper. So you let me know when you are flippable.
All right. Just shoot me an email and we'll set it up.
Okay, good. Thank
John,
you.
I got a quick thought and a quick question,
Okay.
or two thoughts. The two thoughts came from what I've heard today. The first one had to do with the Zoom accounts. I think it was Lisa was trying to figure out how to have multiple users and all that goodness. So my thought is, and I don't know, but through Be Connected, you know, you and I have an enterprise account.
Yes.
So the question is, if she has an enterprise account, because we're paying very little for our enterprise account, so that might be something that she probably, I don't know if Lisa is hearing me, if she got into it or not.
Yeah, you could actually set up multiple enterprise accounts through the Be Connected connection for $12.99 a month.
That's where I was going with that.
Yeah.
And so maybe she doesn't know that or is aware of that. The second thought I had also was for her, and I guess Lisa can hear me, is that it kind of came to mind, you know, I just heard about this through the mastermind. I don't know if you guys were on it when they were talking about Linktree. And Linktree, maybe in my mind, if you have all these clients that have to have certain documents and certain things, they can use Linktree to link their photo pages and link their whatever it is she needs. And she has one, and if they all have a Linktree account and they only have what they need for her on this Linktree link, then all she has to have is their links, and everything she needs is populated there. And then maybe she can use that to manipulate. I don't know. That's just where my mind was going. And then the question I have, the actual question I have, has to do with something
Thanks,
totally
Randy.
different.
Thanks. I just wanted to say thank you.
Oh, you're
Good
welcome.
ideas.
It's just my, you know, my weird thinking, but I don't know enough about it to be dangerous. And then the question, the real question that I need help with, I'm new at this game. I'm a solopreneur. I'm a speaker and a coach. I've never had an online business platform till Kartra. I only got serious about this in the last two and a half, 3 years, but I've been speaking and coaching for 7 years. But I was doing it for fun because of the outcome, the joy and happiness and all that good stuff. But now I'm trying to move into the business area. I'm getting bombarded with people wanting me to buy things. And as a new person who's building, you have limited resources. I've not been in business for 20 years doing this one thing where I have, you know, this lots of income just flooding me out the door. And so my question for you, John, is number one is the social media thing right now is I'm being bombarded with getting these apps that allow you to learn who you are and do all the social media for you, as an example. I want to say yes, but I also want to say no, because to me, it's not cost effective in my mind for somebody who's just starting out. And a lot of what I learn, I turn around as I'm coaching, I share this information with people who are also either starting out or haven't gone as far as maybe some of you have gone in business. And so it's the things I share need to be cost effective as well for them. And if I don't think it's cost effective for me, how can I pass it on to them legitimately and say, for example, get this $200 social media app and they aren't even making $200 a month.
Yeah.
And,
Well,
and so in my mind, I have to be, you know, it has to be justifiable. So
sure.
the real question is, how did you decide when you were building your business, and I know all this new stuff, what didn't exist, but how would you look at it now in terms of a person in my position that has clients, but they're not flooding I'm not at the cream of the crop where I want to be yet. But how did you decide where to put your resources and what's smart and not smart?
Well, I started out just like you, and I've spent a lot of money on a lot of shit I didn't need. And there's a ton of people selling stuff and they're really good at it. And the reality is, what I tell everybody now is, if I'd have known what I know now, if I'd have known that then, I'd probably have an additional $100,000 in my pocket for stuff that I bought, never used. So what I tell everybody now is, I just say, just stop buying shit. Okay. Just stop. I don't care how good it looks. If it's not something that you need right now, you don't need it. It's going to derail you from your plan. If it doesn't make sense for you right now, it's, they use the high pressure tactics to sell you on it right now. You're going to get it today and today only. That's all a bunch of crap. I guarantee you, if you want it next week, they'll sell it to you.
Or the latest, I don't want to mention any names because I do like the person, at least their style, but the latest thing is you'll take yourself from, you call it the attraction, where if they don't know you, how are you going to increase the size of your business, so to speak? With social media, if they don't know who you are, then how are you going to get there? Well, this thing that we're talking about spending, and I call it big bucks, but what am I? I guess it's relative. If it's $5,000 to $10,000 to $20,000, in my mind, that's big bucks. Yeah. So if you're going to spend that kind of money, it has to be something that, to me, is almost guaranteed is going to move you 3 levels up, or bring in X amount of revenue, or something like that.
There's nothing though that does that. You can't. There's no easy button that you're going to spend 10 grand on, and it's just going to jet you to the top of anything. So
you're saying stick with ACT, learn ACT, study ACT, and just methodically chop away at these things until you arrive at that doorstep, whatever that doorstep is.
Yeah, what happens is, when you're building a marketing campaign, that should dictate what you need. Like, a lot of people need a system like Kartra to create a marketing funnel. Mm-hmm. So that dictates a need. You need to fill that, whether it's Kartra or Kajabi or Infusionsoft or whatever you're comfortable with. At that point in time, you need that tool.
And that's the online business tool that I needed to even get started. So
that's a foundational thing. You need that way before traffic. All the stuff with social media and SEO and all that stuff is in the traffic portion, which is on the end. That's after you have all the rest of that stuff set up. So if you start buying a bunch of stuff out of sequence, all it does is it just gums up your brain with a bunch of stuff that you don't need to be thinking about yet. And it'll just prevent you from getting where you need to go.
Okay. All right.
So
makes sense.
I tell everybody, I go, just stop buying shit. The stuff's going to come down the pipe as fast as it ever has, and it's not going to slow down. So just wait till you need something and get it then. You'll be a lot better off. You'll get there a lot faster. It's like if you needed a car to go to work and you didn't have one, you don't buy 10 of them hoping you can get one to work and get you there, right?
Right.
You get the one that you can afford that'll get the job done, and then you go on with your life.
Build from there. Yeah.
Right.
Okay. Makes sense. Yeah. I didn't want to lose any more sleep over the decision. I've got to let this person know. The smart thing is to let them know tomorrow.
No, if they've done their job good, it's hard to not take the offer.
Right.
All that does means you should learn from them. You should look at their funnel really closely and find out how they did that to you. Like
I'm trying to think about that now.
How did they create the demand and desire? How did they do it? How did they eliminate the objections? What was the offer that they made? because they took you down the road that you want to be able to take people.
Yeah, and it's on my mind, but I know that the gut answer is maybe sometime in the future, way in the future, but certainly not now.
Yeah, yeah. And
I know that.
And one of the things that Lisa said is really smart is when you opt into these people's funnel, grab their material and save it.
Oh, I took notes. I took copious notes on that one.
But
If
when you're in their funnel, grab their emails. They've got an email sequence.
I signed up.
Go into their cart and then bounce out and see if they have a follow-up, cart abandonment sequence, and just grab that shit. They've already done it.
That was good. I went to their websites and everything. So
yeah, I've actually gone to the process of actually buying competition stuff for clients, and then see the follow-up, see the implementation, see the whole process. There's no better way to really, dial that thing in. It's because they've done all the hard work. They've done the heavy lifting. They've gone through the hoops, and they've just smoothed the road for you. So
what got me, I'll share real quick. What got me was the one statement. Well, if you don't let me know by our next appointment, which is Friday, please let me know so that I can fill that slot with someone else. If you don't let me know, then I'm going to assume that the only reason for the call is to figure out how to do what it is we're talking about. and I thought about, so we're talking about how to structure the deal. And I thought, that's a good one.
Yeah, there's a lot of angles on this stuff.
Yeah, anyhow.
All right, well, I got to wrap up. I have another appointment here I have to jump onto, but thank you all for being on here, and we will see you next week, regular time.
What about you?
Hey, John.